Just a moment till the video comes up and we'll be ready to go. Just a moment till the video comes up and we'll be ready to go. It looks like we're live. There's about a 20-second delay between the stream on YouTube and just a moment till the video comes up and we'll be ready to go. It looks like we're live. So, Bob, what brings you, a nice guy like you, to a place like this?
I just doing stuff I like doing, you know.
I don't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh, that's all right. Never mind. It's my fault.
You know.
It's on my end. It's not yours. I don't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now. It was a fault of my own making. I'm sorry.
All right.
Well, we started off this. Welcome to the Natural History Filmmaking Festival. We just got done with an interview with Nicole and Miguel Booth, who are interesting filmmakers. Nicole started when she was about 8, and with the vlog Lost in Africa, where her and her family toured Africa. And they went on to tour South America and sort of got caught up in the pandemic last year. Father Miguel was a cinematographer. He's worked for the National Geographic, International Fund for Wildlife, a whole bunch of different agencies. And so I just want to say that we did that video, and it's available on our YouTube channel. Today we're talking to Bob Bush Sr. Bob Bush is a guy from central Pennsylvania. He has a number of trail cams located in locations in central Pennsylvania. And every few days, every few weeks or week or so, he posts new videos that he's taken of all kinds of wildlife. What are some of the kinds of wildlife you've seen, Bob?
I get everything from, you know, mice, chipmunks, squirrels, mink, weasels, fishers, bobcats, bear, coyotes, owls, all different species of owls. I've got bald eagles, great blue heron, deer, just about everything.
Have you gotten any like Bigfoots or any aliens in your web cameras yet?
Not yet. But when I first started, when I was up on the mountain and I just did photos, there definitely was some strange lights in the middle of the night where there was no roads. So.
Okay. How many cameras are you running right now?
Oh, I think about 8 right now.
And what kind of cameras are you using?
The last few years, I've been using Browning Special Ops series. Goes from Special Ops Advantage, Extreme, Edge. There's just every year they just put a different name to it. It's a no glow camera, which means no flash, so you can't see it. Animals can't see it.
What do you think are your most interesting films you've managed to catch of wildlife out there?
Well, I flushed a grouse from a nest accidentally one time, and I was right there, and I had a camera and I just put it on the tree and aimed it down, and I didn't go back for till I knew that it would have been hatched, and that was a good moment. Grouse are tough. I finally got a grouse drumming on a log, got some good series of that.
We had a question from one of the audience members. It says, I know he's had animals take smelfies. But has he had one eat a camera or try to eat a camera?
So I had a bear one year. It was the brand new camera. I just put it up, and went back 2 weeks later, and you could tell something had gotten into it, and a bear had actually bit right into it, and its tooth mark was right into it. His camera still worked for a couple years, but yeah, and I've had bear are usually the ones that mess with it. Although I do have a new video I just did. I actually did two videos, but I did one I think we're going to play, and it has a coyote that's like licking and chewing on the camera. So it's never been seen yet. So
Well, so everyone else here knows Bob and I did a video together, the basics of wildlife trail cameras with Robert Bush Sr. And it was up on Amazon for a while for sale as DVDs and a streaming platform. But when Amazon decided to stop their DVD production, we took it down and put it on YouTube. We're going to play that video right after this session. So hang in there and you can see Bob tell us all about how he got started in this wildlife trail camera stuff. You were telling me the other day that you were involved with placing some cameras with the Game Commission. Could you tell me something about that?
actually, it's with DCNR out of
Okay.
Black Shannon State Park. Yeah, they were doing some, and I think the biggest problem is cameras that were donated weren't the greatest of quality, and they weren't catching a whole lot of images. And so I just started that project. I'm excited about it. I grew up out of Black Shannon since I was a kid. It's just a local place here. It's a unique habitat, that's for sure. So, but I already got a fisher on it. First week, I just checked the camera and had a fisher in the daytime, and they posted it. I'm going to be editing for them from now on in the future on the stuff. So you go there and look at some of the videos I'm putting on there too.
And what channel's that?
Black Shannon State Park on their Facebook page, actually.
Okay. And you have both a Facebook page and a YouTube channel.
Yes, I have a YouTube channel also. That's Bob's Pennsylvania Wildlife Camera. Facebook is Bush, one or the other. I can't even remember right now.
One's Bob's Pennsylvania Wildlife Camera, the other one's Bush's Pennsylvania Wildlife Camera. So he gave them different names just to confuse himself, I guess.
That's right. It works.
How did you get started doing these wildlife cameras?
I always loved being in the woods, and I always used to work for my father, growing up, he landscapes, and then I went and did HVAC stuff, and you start going on your life and you spend less and less time. So it was something we decided to do, is hike every Sunday.
Video comes up.
Hike every Sunday, and then we started putting up trail cameras. So it was something to start off with my father, and my sister and mother live in Maine. I wanted them to be able to see what we were seeing. The whole family was, was born in Pennsylvania and enjoy the wildlife.
I know last year you got yourself a GoPro and you posted some walking in the woods videos. Yeah. Tell me something about your walking in the woods videos.
Well, it's same thing. It's for people that can't get out in the woods anymore. People that live in the cities that don't get out, elderly people. It just gets to a point in your life that even Dad right now isn't going out in the woods with me anymore.
Why does Portia need to admit to anybody in the world literally what she did or didn't do? She's a grown-ass woman and she is single.
Well, I just muted some people, which, sorry about that. Say something, Bob.
can save up to 30% on rooms at select Disney Resort hotels. Imagine the magic of staying here.
There, I think I've muted everyone but you, Bob.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
All right.
Someone
Actually,
joined with their television on, and you can hear it in the background, so sorry about that, folks. It's just part of juggling trying to run these Zoom meetings a bit. So none of them ever run perfect. You said you had a
So the GoPro, the Walk in the Woods with Bob, I did it. You know, I'll take a springtime, a summertime, a fall, and a winter time, and then cut it down to where it doesn't take too long. But people really, it's gone over really good. People really have put some nice comments on.
You had a video you wanted to play.
Yes. Yep.
All right, if you look at the bottom of your screen, there should be a little menu there at the bottom.
Now I'm looking.
And there's one that says share screen.
Well, I'm not seeing that menu there. Let's see, reactions, record, share. There's share screen.
Yes, start your video and hit the shared screen button and you'll go live.
All right, let me pull it up.
What'll happen is it playing on your screen, Bob?
What's that?
Is the video playing yet?
No, I haven't pulled it up yet there.
Okay.
All right.
Start it playing, click share screen, and just click on the window that shows your video.
Now I'm having issues here right now. My mouse isn't cooperating.
That's all right. Well, if you can't get it figured out, I'll share one myself, all right?
Hold on a sec. Let me see. I may have got it now.
Click on the share screen button at the bottom, and a couple windows will pop up.
There you go.
And
You
click on the window with the video playing. There you go.
Can you see it?
Yep, we can see it. You got it, Bob.
Well, this is a brand new one. But I like how this deer came up behind it.
When did you get this video?
Today.
Today. That's pretty new then.
Yep, I just collected this today and edited this. That's a fisher.
Okay. Really glowing eyes, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, you're back to yourself again.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for Bob?
I have a question.
Sure.
Bob, do you actually see any of these animals in the light of day, or is really the camera revealed like the just vast number of animals you get on your property?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them hiking in there. I've seen coyotes. I've seen fisher. You know, the ducks. I'm always running into the ducks. Yeah, the deer. I haven't. Oh, I shouldn't say I haven't. I have seen bear years ago with my dad. We ran into a bear when we were out there. It was actually at a distance where we saw it, but it was right where I had a camera placed. And I actually got it on camera too. But again, that was back when I did photos, not videos. So
Neat.
yes, I do.
Great. So when are fishers out and about generally?
Usually at night, but they're out in the daytime there too. You know, they're opportunists. They're out and about.
Neat. I love seeing the bobcat.
Yeah, the bobcats. I haven't ran into a bobcat out there, although I ran in up in Queehana area. I've seen baby bobcats, little kittens. But I always worry about the mother bears with cubs this time of year. You never know.
That's understandable. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Bob, where is your webcam? Where is your wildlife cameras located? So generally you said they're in a wildlife management area 5.
Now, 4D, Wildlife Management Unit 4D,
4D, okay.
which is a big area, but that's all I'll tell anybody. It's like nobody needs to know the exact location. My group isn't about hunting or anti-hunting. It's just about the wildlife. So
You were talking at one time about getting up somewhere near Benazet to try to capture pictures of some of the elk. Have you ever managed to get up that way with one of your
no,
cameras?
not yet. Not yet. My son lives up that way. You know, he's up close to St. Mary's, between Penfield and St. Mary's. And I still haven't. You know, obviously with the COVID shutdown, since we talked about that, we haven't really done anything yet. I'm just right now starting this Black Shannon project is going to take up a lot of time, and keeping the log and those videos going.
I have a question.
Sure.
Where are some of the places, like I know people from all over the world have looked at your videos, and how many countries are you up to now?
last I counted, it was over 100 countries. Everywhere. Yeah, I get a lot of comments from people in Australia, and over in England and Scotland, France. I mean, there's just people everywhere. Brazil, Chile. I get people that send messages and comment on the videos from all over the place. So, yep, lots of countries. A lot from Canada. Majority of everybody's in the U.S., but there's definitely people everywhere.
Okay, I have a question too. I'm always amazed by the different locations of, you put your cameras and you get these amazing shots of all different animals. The latest one was the porcupine. Dan, what kinds of things do you look for when you're going to set up a camera that's going to make a good spot? You have a good eye. Well, like what kinds of signs you look for?
Well, yesterday when I was out at Black Shannon, I recovered the one camera's SD card, and that was a no-brainer. There was a log across a stream. It wasn't a very big stream, but things like, a log in the middle of the woods is a good place, just laying down, because animals like to walk on it. I've personally seen a bear just get up on a log that's already totally on the ground, no water around, and just walk down. It's just something wildlife seems to like to do. So I also went out to a brand new area yesterday out at Black Shannon, and I was just hiking. I just walk until I see, one thing is trails. I'll find a game trail and just walk until I see a convergence, maybe 2 or 3 trails coming together in one area. And I like this spot. There's water by it. Animals all need water, so water is always a good place for cameras. But this had everything, multi-trails and the water. I set the camera up, and when I finished walking on the trail, right by it, walking into it, looks like bear tracks coming down. So hopefully that's another good spot that we get some wildlife. So stuff like that, it's just ridge lines on a hillside. Animals tend to deer walk on that. They can look down, they feel safer, and coyotes and animals like that, they walk ridge lines also, looking for prey. But that's like the ridge log where I have the grouse drumming, and I just put the camera on there and knew there was trails around there, and it was on just basically on the ridge line. We have everything from fishers to mink, weasel, bear, grouse drumming. So that's just something I grew up with. Dad taught me how. Just being outdoors with my granddad and Uncle Benny up in Maine.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I'm always amazed by your shots.
What's that?
I said I'm just always amazed by your locations and what you get and the different sites, and you just have a great eye for that.
Well, thank you.
Is there like a community of people who, other people who do wildlife cameras, you like talk to each other? And,
yeah.
Tell me about the wildlife trail camera community and some of the other people you follow or talk to.
I mean, there's definitely some great ones out there. Sally Nassar, CR Wildlife Cameras is her page. CR Wildlife Cameras. She's up in Massachusetts. She gets some awesome videos. And then there's individual people that just do it. It's just amazing the amount of people. And I don't remember his whole name, guy out in California that has them. It's easy to find on Facebook. There's all kinds of different groups just searching for trail camera. And you'll get some groups that, they'll have hunting videos because that's part of trail cameras. And, they'll have a description at the beginning. If you don't want to see that, you got to read the description and know that you're going to see it. If it doesn't bother you, then, join. If not, just don't join it. I have it just, right on my description of my group is, I'm not anti-hunting. I'm not against hunting. We don't talk about it. It's just about enjoying the wildlife. There's no politics. I don't take any crap. I'll give somebody a warning. Sometimes people accidentally brings back a memory, and I say that they would say they remember hunting da 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 or something, and I'll take it out and send them a message, and they'll apologize. Usually, it doesn't happen again. I've only had to ban, I think, 2 people from the group, one on each side. One was totally anti-hunting, and the other guy was a hunter, and everybody thought, my roles didn't count. But that's how it is.
How many people are in your Facebook group? Do you know?
I think it's over 51,000 people in the Facebook group, and over 10,000 something subscribers on YouTube. I think it might be 12,000 now, 12,000 something on YouTube.
That's quite a few people. Come on, people, some more questions for Bob. I've got him here in the crosshairs, and you're not asking any questions of him.
Can we see more video footage?
Well, let me find one.
I'd love to see the porcupine one, if you can pull that up.
Well, I do have that. I got a new computer, so everything I'm trying to
I can put
navigate.
it up for you, Bob. I've got that one.
You got it? Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I've got to find it again. As soon as I say that, then I misplace everything.
Oh,
Here's
I
a
know.
porcupine den one.
I have a question. I raised my hand, but I didn't, that's what I usually do with normal. Whoops, later.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we don't want to forget your question. I just had a request for this video, so I put them up. He doesn't seem very energetic, Bob.
No, he's not. That's why I added it to just a few things that he did. Yeah. We're not doing too good here. Here, I got my video ready. Now that's the same one. That's different. That's not the one I'm looking for.
Well, this is the one you posted a couple days ago on YouTube.
Ah, there it is. Oh yeah. No, I had 400 something videos of this porcupine. So this is the best active clips that I could cut it down to.
I actually posted a porcupine video myself a couple weeks ago. I didn't take the video, but I put my GoPro on a friend of mine's helmet as they went into a cave in Western Pennsylvania. And there was a porcupine headed down the passage in front of him.
He yawns a lot too. I'm not, he or she yawns a lot. I've known about this porcupine den for, like I said, a long time. but this is the first time I put a video camera on it. I actually took it down today.
So are they nocturnal? I mean, obviously this is daytime and it's out, but
It's out, but it's just sleeping. When it's sitting there like that, it's pretty much sleeping, it seems. It only goes into the hole and back in there, it seems, as a protective. You'll see him just stick his head in, and then
Okay.
nothing can really get anything out.
okay.
The only natural predator really is a fisher, which is supposedly why the Game Commission reintroduced them to the woods.
That's interesting.
All right, someone had a question just as we went off there. Who had the question?
They said they had their hand up. Oh, right there. Catherine.
Yeah, call me Kathy.
Yeah.
I've been curious about the whole process of putting a camera in. We have a cliff behind us that is at the base of kind of a road that comes down, and it empties into a swamp. I call it a swamp. It's not big enough to be called an actual wetland kind of thing for the Pennsylvania EP, whatever, Pennsylvania Environmental Protection.
Yeah,
Because
EPA.
I had asked them about cleaning it up, and they made no contact with me, so I cleaned it up because it had been abandoned for a number of years, and it actually empties out into the Schuylkill River. So like we're right across the road from us is the Schuylkill River. So I was thinking about putting a camera, and maybe you can help out, but on the cliff side facing the swamp area and then out to the river. I had bear scat like that big in my yard. I figure 450 pounder. I've had tons of deer. Actually, the deer sleep in one section of the swamp area, and then we what we think is a coyote take off with we're not sure because the carcass of the Canadian goose was completely gutted out, but the head was gone. But the goose was laying there, and it was all the feathers and everything were there, but it was gutted. So we think it was a coyote. We get a lot of, activity there. I'd like to kind of capture some of that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if that would be the best angle, or if you think maybe going from the river up to the.
Well, one thing you always got to look out for is where the sun is also, because you rarely, sometimes you're stuck, like with the log videos. It's just, I can't put it on the other side. So the cameras are where they are. But when the sun comes up in the morning, I'm getting sun glare. But if I
Okay.
can, if I have a choice, I'll always go, to where I'm going to have the sun more behind the camera.
Behind. Okay, good,
Yeah,
thanks.
because it could ruin a good picture or good video.
Mm-hmm. So the angle is actually from the cliff to the river is east to west. If that
Okay.
makes sense. So my road is kind of north, south.
Right. It's hard
south.
without actually being there, seeing. Yeah.
What?
Without being there and seeing, it's kind of hard. But the things I look for is, like I said, how the sun is. So you kind of gotta. I always have a compass with me, so I can take a compass reading it, and can tell
Okay.
on a cloudy day you got to anyway. And it's kind of like I'll set a camera up and walk it like how I think the wildlife's going to be. Then I'll check the video and see how it's turning out. And sometimes I've moved a camera to 3 different trees till I get the right angle or what I feel is going to be good.
Okay.
And sometimes it's just setting it up and seeing what you get. You might get a video of something and then realize, oh, it's going to be better if I'm over here, you know. But it's
Okay.
sometimes it's just trial and error.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
You can get apps for your phone
Yeah.
that show you the compass. I'm glitching in and out, but
Yeah.
you can get all kinds of apps for your phone that has the compass on it, and apps that'll show you where the sunrise is coming from and where the moonrise is coming from, all that kind of stuff. And they're sometimes useful. I look at them when I'm doing other kinds of videos as well for planning where the light's going to be for shots later on in the day.
Right. I found that other video. Do you want me to play it? We have time?
Sure.
or not?
Now that you know how to do it, it
Yeah.
should work perfectly, right?
All right. Now this is a brand new location.
Cool.
Can you see it?
Yep, it's up.
This is a brand new location. And again, this is a no glow, so you can see the light, but if you're there, you can't see the light. And you can tell coyotes are very skittish, and it's not bothering them as much as if it was an actual light.
The videos themselves play.
You'll see a bobcat. You won't see it real quick. It's on the other side. It's coming. There it is. Sorry, Ed.
The videos will play smoother on YouTube than they do over the Zoom. So
You can see the band on that goose's leg. The banded goose. And when I set that camera up, I set it on a trail that was there. But the only animal that actually walked on the trail I was looking for was that raccoon. Everything else was just walking around.
What were some advice you could give people to tell them how to get started with the camera? You know, what should they look for in a camera, and how to get started in this hobby?
I mean, you can get a camera about anywhere. The quality is what you're paying for, better quality. The Browning cameras I order, and I get them delivered to the house for $200. It's usually, they're always, every year, they're always right around $200 delivered to the house. It actually has a viewing screen, a little screen on it that helps when you're setting them up. But that's also a lot of money for some people to see if they just want to try it out. So like I said, Walmart, different places, they all have inexpensive cameras. And you can get wildlife just about anywhere. Backyards, everything. Some of it we might not consider wildlife, but you know, possums and skunks and everything else, they're survivors.
All right, we've had several new people join. Do you have any questions to ask Bob?
Bob, what animal has most surprised you? Something that showed up on your screen that you weren't expecting, or?
Well, when I was first, I remember hiking with Dad, and we found the original log. And I just, you know, you put a camera on it and thought, you know, if I was looking to get across the stream without getting my feet wet, there's no other place to cross it, put a camera on. Went back after, I think it was a week, because we pretty much went every week, and there was like nothing on the camera, but left it out there another week. Came back the next week, there was a mother and 3 cubs. And that just totally surprised me, because I'm thinking of, you know, squirrels and chipmunks and stuff, you know, small things crossing it. To have a mother and 3 cubs cross it, that totally surprised me.
Nice, nice.
There was one time, it was just lucky, but there was an owl and a turkey fighting just off camera on the other side of the stream, but you could see the turkey kept almost like getting knocked out of the fight back to the log, and then the turkey would run right back, and you have no idea what's going on. You just keep seeing this turkey come flying out and then go back in, and next thing you know, here comes this owl, flies right up across the log, and the turkey right behind him going, and the turkey ends up landing on the log. But yeah, that was kind of surprising.
That sounds interesting.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
Bob, have any of your trail cameras been ripped off by an angry animal?
I haven't lost any. I've had one bitten into. I showed a video earlier, a coyote licking it, then took a little bite out of it. I've had bears mess with them, but only one time a bear actually did damage. I have had 2 cameras stolen that were by humans, so they're the biggest problem I worry about.
Thank you.
Yep. See, Kathy's got her hand up.
Do you ever get involved with the Pennsylvania Game Commission with anything?
I've shared videos to their site. I haven't done anything with them. Like we were talking earlier, I'm working with the DCNR out of Black Machine State Park, but nothing with the Game Commission. But like I have posted videos onto their site. They like.
I have a friend who works for them, and he put a duck box up on our swamp area, and we got an owl in it.
Oh.
We thought that he went down and looked at it and he said, that's a surprise, but it was a little owl. I forget what he called it, but it was no bigger than like my hand. It was very tiny. But
Maybe
he,
a screech owl.
well, you know, and it's funny you might say screech owl because the other night we were out back in the evening and I thought it was the red tails because we have red tails that are actually nesting on our cliff. And I thought maybe it was it, but it was already, you know, roosting time, well past roosting time. And this thing let out a a cry that almost sounded like a hawk when they're flying around, you know, like
Right.
they make that screech. And it almost sounded like that, but it was just a little bit different. We thought maybe it was you know, like a panic for the owl, for the hawk, but maybe it was a screech owl because that owl ended up hanging out at our box. So who
Right,
knows?
right.
But it's kind of cool. It makes me want to get a camera and put something out there to see what we're going to try and find.
Yeah, you never know. Never know.
I have friends that come by there and they say 9 times out of 10, the deer are laying right in this one little grassy area right next to the swamp. So they know to look for them there.
My mother and sister live up in Maine, and we were up there a few years ago, and my sister she's the birder of the family. And she has a game camera that I'd actually sent her that for taking of just birds. Well, when me and Dad went up to visit, I forgot I didn't take a camera with me, but they have their backyard. There's a hill that goes down. There's a stream down there. So she let me use that camera and I set it up. There's a log across the stream down there. And I just set it up on there and it just took photos. But in just the one night we were there, we had, I believe, possum, I think raccoon, a squirrel, a fisher was on it, and turkey was on it. In the morning, me and Dad were up in the morning. We heard a turkey clucking, I think, or it's clucking or gobbling, and I just figured it was, you know. But went down there, and about that time, there was a turkey on the logs. I call that the main log.
That works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the information.
Sure.
Bob, what's been your most popular video? How many views have you gotten?
Well, I'd have to look them up. There's
Well, off the top of your head.
Yeah, the log video, you know, my original, the log. It's the most popular. In that series, I have 3 of them: log 2, and log 3. But those are the most popular. The owl fighting, it is definitely one of the big the owl and the turkey fighting. A lot of people like that.
Have you ever set up a camera in a spot where you thought this is going to be good? This is going to be, I'm going to get something here. And then it just, for whatever reason, never panned out? Or are you that good where it always does pan out?
I'm pretty good. There's definitely times you don't get much. It's just every now and then you run into a circumstance, you go check it, leave it up there for a while, and then you pull it. But 9 chances out of 10, they're usually good areas. I mean, just like that one I just posted below was the first time, the last video I just showed below a beaver dam is what I call it, because there's actually a beaver dam to the left. And it was really just looking around there to see, what was, it was an experimental spot, and it turned out good, but they can just as well turn out not being good. But it seems like if it's a well-traveled trail, it's good. Now I've also put them just in the woods where I'm walking through the woods and think, boy, this looks like a good area, and put the camera up, and there's, I've had bear and deer and turkey through it. Had an owl fly right down through there, coming in from behind. To get that on video was something.
What about people? Do you ever get people on your?
I do get people on it. Usually some people look right at it. Some I don't think they notice it. The camera's camouflaged. If you're not really looking for it, you might not see it. But usually people are good. I've had, like I said, those 2 stolen. And I had 2 guys on video like days before that didn't look like your typical outdoorsman type of people, and they obviously were looking right at the one camera. It was gone. So I don't know if it was them, but
At 9 o'clock, we're going to play the basics of wildlife trail cameras with Robert Bush Sr. That's another 8 minutes. And so if you want to hang around and watch that, you're welcome to. Let's play another one of Bob's videos in the meantime to kill up a little time. How about his rough grouse drumming video?
are you playing that, Ed?
Yeah, I'm going to play that.
All right.
5 minutes and 31 seconds. So. If you have questions, we can talk while the video's running as well.
And this was quite a thing for me because I could hear him drumming all the time. And, always since I was young, you could always hear the grouse drumming. And I've looked and looked, and I see other people posting videos of getting them drumming. And I was like, oh my goodness, I knew where to look. And finally, I didn't put this camera on this log. It was actually behind the grouse looking towards us, because this is the ridge log. So it's right on a ridge line. And again, it just looked like a good spot. And that's where I got bear and mink, weasel. Maybe not mink, weasel. Mink are usually down by the water. Fisher and other critters on there. And then one time there he is drumming last fall in the middle of the night. And then this spring he started up again. I had moved the camera to the front, and he just perches right there in front and drums.
It's nice that you have these videos that you haven't edited them to look like something else. Like I see so many of the National Geographic kind of style videos where they've edited into like this adventure story. And I kind of like the feel of the raw videos.
Yeah.
This is what it's really like, as opposed to something that's been so manipulated that you lose the essence of it.
Let's not knock editing now.
Hey, I'm a filmmaker.
Sorry, that was just a joke. Sorry.
I'm a filmmaker. I do editing. That's where the story comes together in the editing. But there's things that are
that's my brother. He is an editor also. So.
Yeah. Well, it says A. Bush, so.
Yeah.
So that's where the story comes.
But I agree with you. It is nice to see some of them just in the long format. It's great.
And there's enough editing in it. There is, like I said, there was 409 videos of this grouse drumming also, just like porcupine. So they weren't all right in the center. Some of the videos it was clean to the right. So and then there's times he's just sitting there. So it's like, how do you do a video of that? So you're editing it down to just a drumming for the most part, or any other little thing that might happen. So what you see in this time period is the best of 409 videos.
I like that you leave the sounds of nature in. I saw a video recently of fall, a loon on a lake in Maine, and this beautiful fall foliage. And there was all kinds of classical music behind it to add drama. And I kind of felt like it took away from the natural sounds of nature and the moment. So I like that you leave the nature sounds. The only thing I could think of, maybe there was a highway behind and like car sounds or something that they added music, but I felt like detracted from it rather than added to it. So I appreciate that you leave
Ask them why we weren't here.
Mother Nature.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
hearing that river. You have a little water running. It's nice.
Yep, a lot of people, I get that comment a lot. Yeah, I don't like to put the music on it. Just soundtrack by Mother Nature.
Do you ever get woodcocks anywhere?
I haven't. This is actually a rough grouse. When it starts drumming, you can see its neck feathers get all ruffled, and that's where it gets its name from. And that's the Pennsylvania state bird, of course. No, yeah, I haven't gotten any woodcock. I haven't seen those around. And the population of grouse in Pennsylvania was on the decline because of the West Nile virus. It killed a lot of them. So I'm happy that we have this family around there. This is actually only like 200 yards from that nest that I said I put the camera on a couple years ago. And it was neat watching the little ones hatch and go away. So I'm sure the foxes and coyotes get some of them, but there's ones that live.
Yeah, the Nesty put a camera on. That's one of the video clips that's featured in his upcoming video that'll be shown in just a minute here. So I think I'll just go ahead and play it because it's 8:58. It'll take a minute or two to get it up, and I was looking for this video earlier today, had a brief moment of panic because I couldn't find a copy of it. I had moved it to one of my external hard drives that was sitting on top of the bookcase instead of
Hello, my name's Bob Bush. I run a fairly successful wildlife camera Facebook group and YouTube page. My Facebook group is called Bob's Pennsylvania Wildlife Camera. My YouTube group is called Bush's Pennsylvania Wildlife Camera. I am doing this video to explain how you go about setting up a game camera, what you look for, how you do it. I have a lot of people ask me questions about it, and this is what we've come up with. I'm also going to showcase a number of my videos. I've been doing wildlife cameras, I believe, since about 2013. All my cameras are located in central Pennsylvania area. I usually tell people Pennsylvania Wildlife Management Unit 4D. I got involved in wildlife cameras as a means of spending more time with my father. We decided every Sunday we were going to hike to spend time together, and in the process, we thought we'd set up some game cameras and see what all we came up with. One day I was hiking with my father, and we were along a stream, and there was a log across it. So I just was curious, and we thought, I wonder what all uses this log, and I set a camera up on the log, and the first 2 weeks, came back 2 weeks later, and there was nothing. And thought, well, I'll leave it go, wait a little bit longer. Came back another 2 weeks, I had a mother and 3 cubs. Never thought I'd see a bear crossing that log. And then it has grown to every little critter out there you can imagine: bobcats, coyotes, mink, beaver, muskrat. Everything's been on this log. I originally did my Facebook group to share with my mother and my sister, and this is a way for them to see what I enjoy every day as an outdoors person. It has grown. There's a group out in Wisconsin that I shared a lot of videos to, and I shared my original vlog movie, and it went crazy on their site. Last I checked, it had over 300,000 shares and 13 million views, but everybody went to them. So when I did my second log video, Log 2, Another Year, in 2019, my group went from, I believe it was 6,000 members to now today it's, I believe, 43,000 something members today. And there was a member of my group worked for Cook's Museum of Natural Science in Decatur, Alabama. They were building a brand new museum, and she wanted to ask everybody involved if they would be interested in using my log video in the museum itself, and which I gave them my permission. I felt it was an honor that they actually used it. And during the process of building, whoever decides those things at the museums decide they did want to do this project. And they actually built a log with a stream underneath it. At the end of the log is a video screen that plays my original The Log movie rotating, and it has everything in it. And my understanding is it's a big hit. They opened last June, and lots of people enjoy it. Anytime you find a log crossing a stream, animals love to cross those. Due to promises made, we're not going to show any of my log videos in this video. But you can go to my Facebook group and my YouTube page, and you'll see those videos and hundreds of other videos that I've put on there throughout the different areas where I live. People often do ask me what they could do to get into wildlife cameras. I tell them, even in your backyard, if you have anything, as long as it's not totally fenced in, you've got all kinds of critters, from rabbits to foxes, everything crossing through your backyard. You never know. I set them up at my mother-in-law's house because something was getting into her bird feeder, and it was a bear. So I just suggest to people, at first, you might not want to spend a lot of money on a camera, but I think that less than $200 is a good price. That's what I pay for my cameras. They're good quality cameras. They tend to last anywhere from 3 to 5 years. I've had teachers get a hold of me and for recommendations on cameras. After watching my videos, they had the idea that this would be a good project for kids. The children love watching the wildlife videos. Common questions that people ask me is what camera I use. The biggest one. What camera do I use? Do I use bait? Which I do not use bait. I just set up on natural trails when I do it. When we first started doing the wildlife cameras, I did photos instead of videos. It was a lot of misses. The cameras I got didn't have a screen in it to where I could actually see how I was setting it, what I was capturing. So it was a hit or miss. I would set it up. You'd think you would be getting in a good spot. You'd come back a week later to check it, and you'd get a bunch of V's from deer. And then you would have to guess again in 2 more weeks when you came back. So it wasn't real productive it was hit or miss. You'd still get some nice photos, but you always wondered what was before and what was after. So that's when I started doing videos. This is one of my first cameras I had, a Moultrie. It does not have a screen on it. Like I said, they last for so long. This was an affordable one for me. It got me interested in it. It had C batteries that fit in the bottom, just like the other ones do. This camera, as all my cameras, will also have a mount that will screw into a tree, and it has the camera mount, just like any camera usually has, that this would screw into. It's a little more maneuverable. Once it's in there, I can loosen that nut on the bottom, and now that camera is very movable and aimable. So I really like those when I need to. Other than that, I'm using the strap with branches, stick some underneath it to get the different angles on it that you might need. The first video camera I got was a Moultrie camera with a screen on it, so I could actually see what I was videoing. I would set it on a game trail, and my father would walk on the game trail so I could actually see what I was capturing. This is one of my Moultrie cameras that I used. This is one that was put up for the first week. It was brand new, and a bear actually put his tooth right through it. Bears are notorious for game cameras. They are curious animals. I have a camera that's brand new, spent just under $200 on it. Came and I could see the camera was messed up, and there was a tooth mark right in the center. The camera still worked. I was lucky. I've heard people where they'll tear them right off the tree and carry them off, and then it's just a search to see if you can actually find it.
One moment, I have to check something. No.
They won't take that back on warranty if the bear hits it. It had the video screen also on it. There's where the batteries pop in. It's pretty simple to do. They pop right in. There's a strap on it for strapping around the tree or post or whatever you'd like to do with it. I've done a lot of research on different wildlife cameras. I do a lot of my research online. I rely heavily on trailcampro.com. They set up all the cameras and do great testing, great reviews. I know a lot of the manufacturers look at them to see what's problems they might have found in the cameras, and they try to improve on that. Recently, I found I like the Browning Special Ops Extreme, and that has been replaced by the Browning Special Ops Advantage. They were both very good cameras. They had a much better video. They had a faster reaction time. It went from a couple seconds, which doesn't seem like much, but it's a lot, when an animal first appears and hits the motion detection to when it actually starts recording. The newest ones I have, the Browning Special Ops Advantage, is under half a second. I believe it's like 0.47 seconds. When you have a slow reaction time on a camera, when the animal first triggers the camera, it takes quite a while, like I said, like 2 seconds. Well, an animal can move a good distance in 2 seconds before the video actually starts recording. This is a Browning Special Ops Advantage. This is a brand new one. I haven't even had it out yet. This will be my second Browning Special Ops Advantage. I have 2 of the Browning Special Ops Extreme. Planning on setting this out this week. This is the view screen that I was talking to you about. It doesn't look very big, but it is big enough to see. I also usually use a fluorescent orange bandana to set up so I could see it where in an area where I want to record. It's sometimes hard to see the actual trail or where you're zeroing in on, and that really helps. I'm much more pleased with the videos than still cameras. I tell people if you really want still photos, use the video and you can take a still frame off of it anywhere on it. So you got a much larger variety. You can go through and pick the absolute best shot that you have for a still photo. When you're capturing videos, not only are you getting more of what this animal is doing, you're hearing a lot of times the vocalizations of what an animal might make, whether it be a wood duck making a little whistling sound as it's there in the water, calling its young maybe, or a female mallard making a noise, or a male mallard or a male wood duck, right to a great blue heron. Lots of people see a great blue heron, but you don't hear the grunting sound that a great blue heron actually makes. And that is, again, part of why I would prefer to do a video. You can see right here a hawk bathing in the stream, and the crows are not happy about it whatsoever. Cameras I use, the Browning cameras, have what they call a no glow, which means if I was standing there and it was videoing at night, I could not see any flash. I've tested it. I don't see a red light. I see nothing. My camera, the flash at night, which is, like I said, a no glow flash, it's approximately will work out to about 40 feet. I believe is about what it is. The normal for that. Other cameras might have just a red light, and there's low glows or just a small bit of light. I worry about animals detecting the light and spooking them. I worry about somebody else seeing the light. I've had, during hunting season, I've had where you have a lot more people in the woods, I've had cameras stolen. 2 of them, one was in the open, the other one was actually back in the scrub oak fairly good. It's not bears taking them. I have them secured fairly well, but somebody walked away with 2 on the same trip. because I was there a couple days apart and they were both gone. My camera, for the most part, I believe, I use the default settings on them. Some cameras do have adjustments for how trigger happy it might say it is. I've had cameras older cameras that I didn't spend as much money on, just take thousands of pictures no matter how I set it up. It just didn't ever work right. And that takes a lot of time to go through every video, every photo to see what is actually on what you captured. When you have an animal hanging out in front of a camera, you can have a choice of setting it as from as low as a 1 second to 5 minutes or longer delay between when one photo or video is taken to the next one. I usually prefer to just use a 1 second delay because I want it to keep recording, and that way I can edit it later to get the quality video that I want. And I will edit them together using an editing tool. And mine specifically, I use Microsoft Movie Maker. Just an easy one that I found and was free on the computer when I got it. So that's what I use, and it seems to work pretty good. I do them anywhere from a minute to, I think my longest now is the Log 2, which is a little over 5 minutes. My original cameras used D batteries, and then they went to C batteries, and now they're AA batteries. Although you can use any AA batteries for the most part on it, I prefer the lithium batteries, Energizer lithium batteries specifically, because they do last a long time, even with my videos. My daytime videos are 30 seconds, my nighttime are 20 seconds. If you leave them longer, you can really waste your battery space up. Most wildlife is here and gone in 30 seconds. The cameras I use a full-size SD card, anywhere from 8 to 32. But for the most part, I use 32s, just because it has more space on it. And cameras nowadays can take a lot larger than that. But I found that I can get about 400 videos, a little over 400 videos actually, on the highest quality setting at 30-second videos with a 32 card. You also want to make sure you have an SD card that's fast enough for video if that's what you choose to do. I know the SD cards I have, there'll be a little numeral 10 inside a circle, and I just make sure I like to have at least a 10 in that. When I set up a wildlife camera, I usually travel through the woods, just walking game trails. There's certain areas I prefer when 2 or more trails come together into one trail. It is usually a very good spot where you're going to get different wildlife. I don't set cameras up right on the trail because it will spook the animals. They just see it as something different. I'm sure they also smell me on it, but they see it's not something normal they see. When I am in a new area, a new trail, I am not really sure how the wildlife is using the trail or what wildlife is using the trail. So I will set up a camera to get a wide view of everything. And then once I come back and I check it, I will see what is actually using it and set a camera up that is going to capture more of what I am after. I try to set my cameras up no higher than 3 feet, depending on the location. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's a little higher. I don't like a lot of wasted space above looking at sky because I'm not going to capture a lot of deer climbing trees or anything. It might be a beaver using the trail where you want it lower to the ground. I might set it a foot off the ground to get some good beaver videos. Compared to where I find out bears are using it, or coyotes or deer, I might set it up a little higher. It might be a different direction than where I'm originally set up. So this is a well-used wildlife trail that I try to find when I want to set up a camera trap, a new one. As you follow it, you look for a spot where you're going to cross other game trails or have more in the area. It really doesn't take much to pick them out because they're so well used, they get wore down. So this is where it crosses with the other trail. So basically I got at least 3 trails right here, and then here's another trail. So this is what I would call a prime area to set up a camera trap. It's early in the morning. Look how it looked at that trail. Hoping this all turns out to where you can really see it good. It's just a very well used trails in there. So what I would do is get up to where the sun will be at the camera's back, basically. Thinking about using this tree right here and setting it off at an angle like that to catch this whole bottom, to catch all these trails where they cross. I'm going to set this camera up at about 3 feet. See how it goes. I might have to come back after my next check and see if I'm catching things good, or if I got to move some brush or reposition the camera. But it really looks like a good spot. I've never had a camera right in here. You can see I have a little stick I used. I'm using the strap behind the camera to angle it down slightly so I'm not getting a big skyline. I've also set up my fluorescent orange bandana that I want it to center on. The other thing I want to mention is some states, public land, you are not allowed to put cameras up. So you really want to make sure you check your state and whose property it is on. And if you are, so you're definitely usually not ever allowed to break brush off. So a lot of times I will tie brush back so I'm not breaking it, but it is out of the way. And like I said, I double checked, made sure everything's set. I got enough battery life in it. Always carry batteries with you, and I like to put them in a Ziploc bag so I'm not losing any. And we'll see how this one goes. So here's the trail. Returning to the camera that I had set a couple weeks ago. And we're walking into the sun, so I'm trying to angle down so we can see it. This is one of the crossover trails. Right there, you can see the camera. Hopefully, once I review, we will have some wildlife. So here's the camera. I'm just checking it. Put a little twig in that little slot to check it. Make sure nothing's in it. Open up that side door. See, it's on right now. Now, anytime you ever take the SD card in or out, you're supposed to shut the unit off first. Right now, I'm going to shut it off. Turn it back on. And we'll soon see. It says there has been 58 out of 407 pictures taken. It's 70% battery left. I'm going to hit the mode button. Down to playback. First one looks like it's my hand in there. That's probably right after I set it up. The second one hit. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a deer walking through there. And it looks set up pretty good. I'm seeing the entire body of the deer. I will flip through and see what the other videos look like. So I checked them out. Looks like a really good spot. Lots of deer. It's hard to see some of them on the little screen, but I definitely can tell by it that it's a good angle, good setup. I've shut the unit off, Now I'm going to take the SD card out, which you just slightly push in on it, release it. There's my SD card I use. I do have a box here that I keep my SD cards in. It's a pretty waterproof box. It's had a lot of good reviews. I will put it in here on this side, meaning that it has the good videos on it. And these are used ones. It's a 16. I'm going to get another 32 out again. Slide it right back in. Turn it on. And we'll go through and delete. Go into setup mode and go through until I find the delete all. Right there. Hit enter. Hit the S button. And this will also format. So anytime I buy a new SD card, I go through the delete all and it will format the SD card for this camera. I'll hit mode a couple times and it'll have a 30-second delay on it. So now I can shut everything up. Put my little indicator stick back in. And I will go, when I get back, I'll review the videos on it. And I'll be back in another 2 to 4 weeks. We'll see what else we get. It's a beautiful spot. I try to also set the camera up on a bend in a game trail where you have better chance of seeing it coming because I'm setting the camera off of the actual trail. So if you put it on a bend, you're catching it head on, but yet you're not spooking the animal. I like to set cameras up on a ridge trail too. A lot of predators, deer also, but a lot of animals like to walk ridges. So those are also very good places to set up trail cameras. Another thing when I'm setting up a camera is I'm always looking for where the sun is. You want to make sure you're not going to capture the sun in the background when it's rising or setting. That really can give you some bad videos. It's not fun to have where you know it's a nice deer or any sort of wildlife out there, but all you can see is the bright sun in the background. So it's something when you're setting it up, you always want to be aware of. I'll take a compass with me to make sure if it's a cloudy day, I know for sure where the sun's going to be coming up and setting. When I set a camera up, I really try to leave everything as natural as I can. But you do have always issues of if it's on a stream, if the water's high, it can trigger your camera where I've had it where I set it up and within a day, every bit of film is taken off or all the SD cards are totally filled up and gone just because it's just being triggered so much. Branches will get stuck on a log of some sort and waving back and forth, and that triggers the camera since the cameras are motion activated. You also, if you're low and in the springtime, everything grows. So you got to watch for ferns growing up in front of the camera, which I've had happen. I like to leave it soak, which when I say soak, that's leaving the camera out for an extended period of time, any amount of time. The longer soak is usually better. But you can also leave it out and have a fern grow up right in front of the camera, and you might get 2 weeks of good video, and then also it's just a fern. Right now, I have 3 cameras set up. I usually go out no more than every 2 weeks. I used to go out every week with my father, and he doesn't go out with me now, so I try to get there 2 weeks to 2 months. It really all depends. This time of year, which has been a rainy winter, rainy springs, especially if you're set up on water, I try to go out more often because a good chance is it's going to be full with stream pictures because the water is going to be really high and it's going to trigger my camera immediately, and I don't like to leave it go for too long. The most exciting animal I believe I caught was a fisher. I remember it very well. I was out with my father. We had set the camera up on a deer carcass that we had found. It was covered in snow. It was February 2nd, I believe, 2016. It was -2 degrees out. It was very cold, and we went out and checked the camera, and we were both very excited to see our first fish. And it was one of the most unusual videos I have. You wouldn't think people think of fishers as a very mean animal, and it was playing in the snow. So. I don't bait, but I have found deer carcasses in the woods, and I will set up cameras on those. It's a good spot. You'll get different predators, and some things you don't think is predators will show up on there. One of the places I like setting up a camera is on stream crossings. If you're walking along a stream, creek, river, I'm sure, you'll see the worn-in trough with tracks where you'll see where the animals use. And it's just like any game trail, they stick to what they enjoy. Now they'll cross anywhere in a pinch. I've seen them swim right across the lake, and it's not a normal thing, but they get spooked, they'll go. But it is, when you find a trail along a stream, it is a good place to set up a camera. One day I was hiking, and I usually always try to make sure I have a spare camera with me, because you never know what you're going to see, or you come across a spot you want to try. And this particular day in March, I believe it was, I flushed a grouse, and it was right close to me. And anybody that's been in the woods with a grouse killer, it almost gives you a heart attack. I look over, and there was a nest with 11 eggs in it. I quickly took one of my screw mounts and screwed it into the tree above the grouse nest and placed the camera, turned it on, and hoped for the best as far as aiming. I did not want to stay close. I wanted to get out of there, which I did. And I knew that the grouse would be done in a couple months. I believe it was June, the end of May, June, when I went back and to recover the camera, and all the 11 eggs had all hatched. And it was a very satisfying camera capture. It's one of my greatest ones I think I have. About in September that same year, then, this was no further than 50 to 100 yards from where that nest was. I had set a camera up again just across some trails in an area I knew. And lo and behold, one day when I checked it, there is a brood of grouse going slowly through the woods, spread out. You can hear them making different sounds and slowly going through the forest. So I'd like to think it's the same group as what I had discovered in the spring. Several of the animals you'll notice, porcupines, raccoons, bear, a lot of those usually you see at night. Bear is one that you'll see day or night. But when you catch a coyote on camera in the daytime and you see the colors of the coyote, the beauty of it really sticks out. Porcupines are usually nocturnal, and I have captured those in the daytime. And again, it is a very, very good sight. Raccoons, mink, they're all, you see them at nighttime is one thing, but to see them in the daytime with full color in that, it's a whole nother aspect. I have future projects that I'm planning on doing, going up to Elk County and hopefully getting some elk. I think that would be a neat project. You just never know what you're going to catch on the camera.
All right. That's basically it for this evening. Any last minute questions for Bob before he goes to bed? We're going to start with a wildlife film screening from the festival. It begins at noon tomorrow on our Natural History Filmmaking YouTube channel. We have 6.5 hours of films to share out of all the ones that were submitted. They range from some peculiar art type films to some films made by grade school kids about pollution to some high-end films that were funded by National Geographic. So there's a variety of films on tomorrow, including actually another couple of trail camera films that people did included in the mix as well. So I hope to see you all tomorrow. Any last questions for Bob before we close off, or is that it? Well, if there's no questions, we'll just end the live stream now.